Okay, well, we're 5 minutes past the time, so we'll make we start. Welcome to today's Matchday -1 press conference to look ahead to tomorrow night's game, our last game in the Conference League against Gent. We have Gary Haveron, first team head coach, and Mark Randall with us. As I'm sure by now everybody will know that the club shared a statement at the weekend just to explain the restructuring that has taken place and the changes that have taken place that leads Gary to sit beside me this afternoon. Gary's more than happy to talk about his role and what that looks like and what that involves, but he's not here to give answers for things that are beyond his remit or beyond his responsibility, and likewise with Mark. So with that in mind, happy to open up the floor for any questions. Whoever would like to go first.
Gary, what's it been like being in that group last week? Because undoubtedly there has been disruption when you look at the change in roles. What's that been like on a practical day-to-day sense?
I think in that, so Nathan obviously came in that there, made a really good impact on the squad in terms of he's a really bubbly character. He's got big personality. For me personally, nothing's changed for me. I says because I have always had that relationship with the players. I've been in around the first team now for nearly 5 years. So it is. So I've had them relationships with the boys. I've had them. I'm familiar, obviously very familiar with the club and how it works and stuff. Again, I suppose I was helping Nathan integrate into the club. So it's over the last period of time, but nothing's really changed in terms of on the ground coaching and getting around the boys and supporting them. And like everybody, our football club, be it Sarah who works in the office, Nicola who works in that, they're in the canteen. It's all about supporting the players and everybody getting the results for the club.
But given the changes after Tiernan, it's a lot of switches in a very short space of time. It's not ideal.
No, but even losing Tiernan and Seamus when we did wasn't ideal, obviously. We were in the middle of a European campaign, but change happens in football all the time. You just roll with it and you adapt and that. Like, and if you've been in football long enough, you know these things happen. So we're ready to pick up and go on as usual and be as professional as we possibly can.
Mark, what's it been like for the players?
It's been just normal. We're footballers. We just want to play football. Gary's a brilliant manager, and we just get on with it. There's no disruption. Not a problem for us, so I don't see the problem.
Do you feel for Nathan to be in that position?
Like I said, we're just here to play football, and look, Gary's a manager, and we'll give 100% for him tomorrow night. We'll give 100% for him for the rest of the season. It is what it is.
This whole European campaign, how big a learning curve has it been, even for players like yourself, who's immense experience, but for as a group, for the club overall? Yeah,
I think massive. A brilliant experience for everyone, and you learn a lot more when you're losing games. And hopefully, as a group, collectively, we've learned a lot from this European campaign.
How tough has it been though, Gary, now as you come to the conclusion of it, mentally, physically, having games every 2-3 days and having to get up for those matches? Because let's face it, when you're playing against the champions, it's easy to motivate the opposition and they maybe see that little chink in the armour that hasn't been there the last couple of years because of your fixture overload. How difficult has the whole thing been?
Yeah, there's massive learning for us as a club and that for the circumstances around it and how we adapt to it. You see teams like Real Madrid and people like that, they seem to flip effortlessly between each other, like each event or each competition. Problem is not that they maybe have a support system around the players now where you nearly got 2 or 3 people just looking after that one person. Like, you mean, we obviously don't afford that luxury. So our boys is very much, it's about adapting to it and trying to get prepared for the next game. I suppose it's the preparation that goes into each match is been very vital to us not there, and we've not had that preparation time because you literally put every focus into a European game to make sure you maximise the result you can possibly get. But then the turnaround, and then obviously the next day is a recovery day. The day after is a match -1/+2, where the boys now they're badly fatigued and they're tired and they're sore and that, and there's only so much work you can do in the training pitch. So getting back to the domestic league where we can get on the ground, we can actually prepare properly for each and every game and put sole focus on that. Solely, like, should see our results improve. But yeah, it's definitely been difficult now for us to switch between the two.
And just one final thing for me, obviously you guys made history to get to this stage. Do you think local football is set up well enough to give local sides the opportunity to maybe kick on the way Shamrock Rovers have? Or is it going to take maybe 2 or 3 clubs or 2 or 3 situations where you get to this stage of the UEFA Conference League before local football gets to a point where they can maybe aspire to what Shamrock Rovers are now doing, for example?
Thomas, 4 years ago we didn't have a single professional club in this country. 4 years. 4 years ago or 5 years ago when Kenny introduced a full-time model, and other teams have tried to follow suit, like, I mean, as a result of that, like, I mean, but it's 4 or 5 years. Do you know what I mean? It took Shamrock 14 league games within the Conference League to get a result. So it did 14 now, like, do you mean, and qualifying year on year is what they done. Like, we started 13 years ago when they started qualifying for Europe. You know, we've qualified consistently for Europe, and it's been a steep learning curve for everybody involved. But that's the reality of where we are in terms of being professional, being full time, and bedding into that. So yeah, listen, we would love nothing more to emulate what Shamrock's done. But it takes time in order to get there. You've got to experience it. You've got to go through them experiences and come out the other side. And we're all definitely going to be better coaches, better players, better club and that there for the experience that we've had this campaign. Maybe bar the Shamrock game, I think we hold our heads high in all the games that we play against. But you're playing against teams not there that have got a massive history of playing in Europe year after year and getting to group stages year after year. So again, it's just learning for us as a club. It's us what we take from that learning and how we improve moving forward.
Mark, just in terms of, it's been a great experience obviously playing in the Conference League, great for the players, management, supporters, club, the Irish League in general. Is there now a point where after tomorrow night you'd almost be glad to, for want of a better term, to put it to bed and sort of focus now on the league and focus on your sort of domestic stuff?
Yeah, look, our focus at the minute is purely on tomorrow night. I know it's a boring answer, but it is purely on tomorrow night, and once that's done, then we can start looking forward.
And just obviously you're still searching for that first point, an opportunity tomorrow night. How big or not so big is it an opportunity is it tomorrow night?
I think we can just go out tomorrow and try and play with freedom. You know, we've just got to enjoy tomorrow night as much as we possibly can, and what will be will be.
Gary, just in the back of something Thomas asked earlier on, in terms of the dynamic of on the pitch, you know, and you've been there, as you touched on, been there for a number of years, Lauren. Has that dynamic changed any way in terms of how it operates and how Nathan's involvement, your involvement, or the hierarchical structure, I suppose? Yeah,
we've won back-to-back titles, but Tiernan didn't take every single session. Seamus played equally as much as a part as Tiernan did. I played equally as a part as the both of them. Mick, our strength and conditioning coach, our physio and out there's played every bit as a part. Glenn Wilkinson plays a part on the pitch. We all play our part. So it is. So people drop in and out and take different parts of training that out based on what they best suited to do. So it's a team effort. It always has been. It's a collective thing and that there from a group of people. So it's not one person just dictating absolutely everything. You know, that's why you have a management structure in place now. Like, I mean, he's obviously came in ahead of football. He'll play that role, but he's also good on the grass. So why would you ignore the fact is that he's good on the grass? He just understanding that there who picks the team, who puts the side out, and that is my responsibility to make sure that we go out there and represent the town and the league as best we possibly can tomorrow night, and then we get back to our domestic stuff very shortly.
And just finally, from me, from a personal level, how proud is it for you to be named officially as head coach?
Yeah,
taking this team forward?
It's been for the town that what Kenny's done, and it's been well documented and well talked about. You know what he's done for the town is incredible. I'm born and bred in the town. I mean that's a huge honour for me not there to be leading this team, to work with people like Mark and the boys that we have and the squad of players we have. It's a massive honour not there, and it's not lost on me. You know how the people who we represent, you know, our families and the different kind of community. I know everybody in Lauren practically, you know, by name. You know, so there's that extra sense of responsibility that we don't want to let them people down, that we want to always put our best foot forward, and we show Lauren that we're a team to be reckoned with domestically and hopefully in future not there in Europe as well. Thank you, man.
Gary, were you surprised by the events of the last few days?
I don't think in football you can ever be surprised with anything. It can change very quickly. Football, like you mean, and you just got to roll with it, to be honest.
And in terms of the Nathan was on the pitch this morning, just on what Gareth had asked there, you know, tomorrow night will he be, you know, so you're the manager, but will he be there in a coaching capacity as a builder, or what is that head of football role? What is that?
No, like I said, it has many different faces. I'm sure there's so much responsibility that falls on the head of football as it did Tiernan. So it's no difference to the role that Tiernan maybe had in terms of he may not be in the dugout, but what he will be is overseeing our scholarship programme, overseeing our academy, overseeing the whole club as a total, like about the players that we have in our player pathway for the YDP. So there's so many different strands to the head of football role. So it is not like you mean it, and Nathan will take on that role and be very, very successful at it, no doubt.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Mark, what have you made of the standard of it? How difficult has it been in the standard at this level? What have you made?
Yeah, it is a different level above. There's teams you thought you could probably go out and go toe to toe with, which maybe we got it wrong sometimes. The likes of Shamrock, where we thought maybe we can go out and have a bit more of a go. And if you make mistakes, you get punished badly. So the level is very, very good.
Yeah, obviously still about the global. Do you think there's any key learnings you can take so far?
Well, I think it's a totally different style of play, out of possession, and I think as a group we've learnt a lot to be comfortable out of possession, and like I said, just the levels of the professionalism, athletic, it's just different level.
Big motivation to finish on a positive, I know.
Yeah, 100%. Always want to finish on a positive. And like I said, we can go out tomorrow and enjoy it and see what happens.
Is it just, you would imagine on the group would have whetted the appetite as well to sort of get back, this is the level you want to be on a regular basis?
Yeah, as a footballer, you always want to be as high as possible, at the top of your game. Like I said, once we get tomorrow out of the way, we can start looking forward to the league and try and kick on from there.
Gary, any team news you should know about?
No, not overly. Like, I don't want to give too much away. Like, but we'll put a team out there we feel has got a mix of experience and energy and youthful exuberance and that. Like, in our starting lineup, So we look at every game and judge it on its merits and pick the team accordingly.
What have you sort of learned about this team? Look at each side and its tactic, style of play, how they approach it?
No, listen, they're 4-3-3 team and that they're very attack-minded. They commit massive numbers going forward. Like, they like the ring boxes and stuff from set pieces, and they're a very, very dangerous side. They're playing in a very competitive league. They've obviously got European history and they've got they've qualified year on year, and they're a team that is expected to finish in the upper stages of the competition. So we know it's got a lot to do. And Mark said there about switching mentality. It's very, very difficult for a team like Larne that's been constantly on the front foot, that goes after teams and are very high press and aggressive team, to then going into Europe and being the complete opposite, where you just can't afford to commit too many men up the park and that, and get turned over in a counter attack. So we got to stay in the game obviously for long periods. I think, like you were asking Mark in there, I think for me the learning is about the importance of your subs and about freshening the team up at the right time and about them being ready to go on and make an impact in the game. If you look at the Shamrock game, 60 minutes, 70 minutes, we've been well in every single game. The scoreline's been incredibly tight. Come into that period of the game, so we need to understand what the role that our subs make. We bit like the rugby, I use that analogy a lot about starters and finishers. Our finishers need to understand that's the role that they play. And the people who come off the bench now, they're going to make the impact to see the game out. And then you'll start seeing more positive results. But again, that's the learning we take from the patterns that has been formed over the last 4 or 5 games.
Given the success the club has achieved in the last few years in the blueprint that you've done so many things right, can you understand some of the negativity and criticism that sort of come to clubs right?
Listen, it's beyond my control. That I just look after football matters. I look after the boys and make sure they're in their best place possible to go into every single game. That's my responsibility, to make sure I get the very best out of the lads, and there's numbers of different ways of doing that. I like to think I've got a really good relationship with the players that we've built up over that period of time, and that's why I've been entrusted with a role that I've been given. So it's really important that I continue to build on that, motivate the boys, make sure that whenever they come off the pitch, they're walking off with their heads held high and proud of their performance.
Is it a case of you staying safe, which is well for all the league games as well, and sort of working in tandem?
Well, I believe so, but again, I'm not a one-man show, we work in partnership throughout the club. I rely heavily on Ian, I rely heavily on the media boys, I rely heavily on everybody at the football club. We're all one big unit. And that was something that Tiernan implemented long before, and that they're like a flat management structure where everybody feels valued and everybody is committed to the same cause. That's not going to change just because rules change. Everybody in that there is driving behind Larne to be successful, and that's what we aim to do.
Is your UEFA pro lessons up to date?
Yeah. Yeah, you got to stay on top of it with CPD and everything else. Yep. So everything's up to date now there as far as I'm aware. So everything's in place.
It definitely is in place.
No, saying that because I think you do have to the last few years.
Yeah, it does,
you
it
have to
does.
continue on work.
Yeah.
So
I've done two
sort of
to
thing.
continue CPDs and that there in order not there to continue upgrading the licence, like, so yeah.
Just quite a lot, you've been dealing with these twin demands of the league and everything else. I mean, when you get back to the league, I suppose you'll be glad to focus on one competition, but a bit of a gap now has developed, and you do want back-to-back titles, and you want to challenge for third titles. So it's a case of simply it's a bit of a mountain to climb, but I'm sure there'll be those sort of suggesting that you're going to shy away from that.
No,
challenge.
no.
You've
It's where the club want to be. We want to be up there challenging. We want to, you just said earlier on, we want to be back here competing in European competition. There's only so many ways you can do that, and that through the league is obviously the most obvious way and the clearest way in that there of getting there if you finish in the top two positions. But that's our ambition, to get back up there challenging. We don't want to give up any of our trophies lightly. That's why we're in another County Antrim Shield final for the 5th year in a row. I mean, because we value every competition that we enter, and we want to give our very best in that, like in every competition, and the league won't be any different. How we go about that is just one game at a time. We focus on the next one, which is beat Dungannon on the 23rd, but we look at that game after tomorrow night first and foremost.
Were you ever in the running for Joel? He seems to be moving on.
That's a club decision out there that's higher above my pay grade, like, so it is. But yeah, we'll never stop looking at all the quality players that are in this league or further afield. So it is, if a quality player becomes available for whatever reason, then we'll definitely look to put our best foot forward in terms of signing quality players for the football club. But what we've got is more than enough now to continue to build on, like, we'll always continue looking for good players to come to the club.
Mark, maybe if I could ask you an aspect. You're a seasoned campaigner. Fair to say you're maybe not in the first flush of youth in terms of your career. But I want to ask you about the physical toll, if there is one on you, because the club's been now playing since July. We hear a lot about it, and we know that clubs like Warren place a lot of emphasis on sports science and nutrition and rest and whatnot. Tell us what it's like. But then we know that footballers just want to play football. But does it take a toll physically or mentally?
What, on myself?
Yeah.
Or just just the older you get, it just takes you a bit longer to recover. But I look after myself. When you're playing full-time football, you have to look after yourself. You've got to eat right, you've got to do the right things after training, and that's what I do. Might not be able to run as much as I used to, but I still think I can offer a lot.
And generally, is it an issue for players? Is it something players talk about? When I'm wrecked and tired, I need a break?
I don't know, I can only speak for myself, and obviously there's days and weeks that you feel different, you get tired and you need a bit of a rest, but in general we've got all the stuff we need at the club to recover right and get ourselves right for the next game.
And then come the new year, when you're finished up with your European adventures, there's fixture congestion. Obviously, Graham's alluded to it, you're playing catch up. Is that a daunting prospect, the fact you've started from July, get into the new year with probably games coming thick and fast every week?
No, I think it's pretty exciting, to be honest with you, and I think all the boys are in the same boat. We're all excited and looking forward to it, catching up on the games, and all we can do is go out and try and win every game possible.
Thanks, Mark. We're kind of the same to you, Gary, if that's okay.
Yeah, you can't underestimate the impact it does have on the players. Mark's not a spring chicken anymore, but you say his quality and that there is beyond doubt. What he brings to our team and his experience and the ability to keep us on the ball, especially in European competition where you just can't afford to turn the ball over that often. And Mark gives you all that quality and that there to staying on it. We just got to make sure we manage him properly, we look after him and that there, and we use him the best way possible. We got back in from Ljubljana at 5 o'clock in the morning, so we did on Friday morning. So we travelled through the night in order to come back, and at 5 o'clock in the morning on Friday, and we're playing 2 o'clock on Sunday. So it's a hell of a turnaround in that there for anybody. Never mind the fact is that half them boys had to maybe drive off to Derry or drive down to somewhere else and that, and scattered all over the country, and that's just the nature of how it is, and then they coming back in on a Saturday after a 5 o'clock start, family life as well doesn't stop. Mark got 3 kids there himself, for talk's sake. family life doesn't stop, like, you mean, so you're up and looking after your kids and spending time with them too, you know. So that all has to be factored in, and that, and like I said, 2 o'clock on a Sunday is a big ask. But again, this is part of football. You know, would you have give up the opportunity to play in a European competition for the sake of like staying in your bed? I wouldn't want to be anywhere else, to be honest with you, Stephen. It's the best competition out there that I've been involved in. You know, it's massive. You see the size of football really is not that when you're involved in the Europa Conference, and that's meant to be the third tier of European football. So you can only imagine how the levels go up if you go into Europa League, you go into Champions League, you go into European Championships, World Cups. It's got to be absolutely humongous, because this competition out there is a huge competition, and it's one we want to be back at, we want to be competing in, and we want to make sure that we get back there. So yeah, back to one game at a time, and see how much we can fight, and as a group of people to get back to where we want to be.
And have you been daunted by any aspect of taking over with the club in Europe, and are you daunted by the prospect of the fixture pile-up and playing catch-up in the new year?
See, if you're daunted working in football, Stephen, you've got big problems. Like, if you've got working football and you're daunted by anything that day, you're in the wrong profession. You know, I mean, this is a privileged life that we live in. That, like, I mean, it's never lost on me. The responsibility is big. I fully accept the responsibility that comes with the job, but it's unbelievable that we work in full-time football in Northern Ireland. In all my years, did I ever think, why be working in full-time football? No chance, not in this country. And I thought it was a pipe dream. When I heard Kenny Bruce was coming back and investing money in Larne Football Club, I says, I'll believe it when I see it. And I'm standing in it like 6-7 years down the line. I live it every day. I never take any day for granted. Every day is a privilege that we get to work in the environment we work in, because Kenny Bruce has afforded us that privilege. We've built an unbelievable football club. We've punched massively above our weight, like, in terms of the size of the town. I mean, the people in that, like, to me, walk around 10 feet tall because of what Larne Football Club has done for them. So for me personally, it's not daunting, it's a privilege, it's an honour, and it has to embrace that. Like, I mean, you've got to walk around with your head held high going, we're incredibly lucky people to do what we do.
Thanks. And the last one for me, Gary, if that's okay. We've talked about it being a long season so far, and it's been a season of maybe, it's been a hectic season, maybe with upheavals as well. How are the players coping? How's the group coping? What's the mood, the overriding mood? It's been difficult to step up in the Europa League, the Conference League, excuse me. How are the players feeling? How are they, like, what's the players still upbeat?
Yeah.
Backing on, slagging each other?
Yeah, we're 25 weeks in now. We're 25 weeks. We're only 6 months into a season. So we are, like, I mean, so it's a hell of an ask in out there for the boys out there to recover and go again, because if you think about going back to last season, they had to play right to the final game. So it was right to the wire, like, I mean, so there was no rest period, there was no layoff and out there. They've had a very short summer break and out there, and a turnaround to get going again into this new campaign, to be ready for the European campaign. And obviously the preparation time was earlier, so the boys got less of a break, and that impacts on them massively as people. You know, they're human beings at the end of the day, you know what I mean, and you know, everybody recovers differently. Like Mark says, you've got the younger boys, and it's then trying to find that balance about making sure everybody's ready to play, you know, because if you rely only on the 11 boys that take to the pitch, then the boys that aren't playing aren't ready to go on and play. So trying to get that balance right of the squad, and trying to make sure everybody's ready and fit and ready to play. But yeah, listen, it's a big ask. It's a big ask, and out there we're coming into now a really busy period now. Like, I mean, we're obviously coming into January, where we will look to strengthen the club. We will look to bring in players out there to support the players we currently have. If that means some maybe going to ones coming in, there's always movement in football club. Every January it happens at every single club up and down the country. We're no different. I mean, but at the end of the day, we want to be back to where we've worked so damn hard to get to. You know what I mean? We're up there challenging for every single trophy. We're in a semi-final of we're in a final of County Antrim Shield. We're in a semi-final of League Cup. You know, we've still got our games in hand, and if we win them games in hand, we're right back in the mix, chasing down the teams that are up there. So listen, we've got it all to do, but you'd rather have that. Like, you mean, I'd rather be at a club like Larne doing what we've done than be at any other football club in the country.
Thanks, Gary. Best of luck, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, folks, that's that everybody, press conference wise. Okay, we'll do some one-to-ones then for broadcast just in the mix zone, and it's us. Okay, thank you.